Hi, I'm Bailey Lewis, and this is Your Magic, Your Rules, where we talk about sensitivity as a power in stories and life so that you can take your magic back as your own this time. I'm an empath and a sensitive heart who learned the things I share about the hard way, and I wish that anyone would have told me sooner. So I'm telling you here for the next few minutes now, which is as soon as I can. You know that thing you do naturally through your sensitivity? The quality that people have called too much, maybe that you feel too much, or maybe not enough, that you're not something or another enough. That skill others benefit from while telling you that it's nothing special. That's your magic. And this is where we set some new rules around it. Each time we gather here, we discuss how the gifts of your sensitivity are often dismissed, devalued, or straight up stolen, and how to use your magic for your own desires and benefit. Because here's the truth. When someone tries to dim your light, it's because they knew exactly how bright you shine all along. They saw your magic and they just hoped that you wouldn't see it too. Join me now to talk about how we're taking back what has been yours all along. Whoever sees your power is the one who gets to benefit from it. It's about time that person was you. Your magic, your rules. Let's begin. I'm reading to you from my publication, Your Magic, Your Rules, which goes out every week. And I'm working to post them here too. This week is called A Trap for the Unwary and for the Weary. I've been thinking a lot about finger traps. You know the kind? You insert your fingers in either end or borrow a friend's finger, even more fun. Then you struggle to escape the trap. The tighter it binds you, the more you struggle to escape, the tighter it binds you. The more you stretch and pull at it, the more it stretches and pulls back. But if you release and relax, if you allow slack and work with the trap's natural movement, you escape easily. The trap falls off your fingers without hardly any effort at all. My duvet cover is like this too. The other day it came out of the dryer all wadded up, still damp in the places where it had turned into a ball, and tied onto itself in dozens of places, some deep within the rat's nest of its bundled state. Much like my thoughts some days. I really love my duvet, and I really hate putting it back on the bed. I wanted the thing detangled now so the chore could be over. I started pulling at the ends I could see, but the more I pulled on it, the tighter I made the knots. I kept pulling anyway, and I could see the knots pulling right back. I sighed, fully frustrated, and threw the thing onto my kitchen counter where I have the most working space at waist level. I loosened it a little as it landed. I picked it up by one of its knotted pieces and shook it lightly, and it loosened up some more. I reached into the bundled mess and created some slack in the fabric. It started to unravel. I started to work with the slack, ignoring the areas that were still tight in the knots. It gave way until it was smoothing out in even the most tangled places. From there, the rest of it was easy to pull apart. It's like a finger trap, I said to myself. I actually said it to the dog, as I remember, who was watching me. My 90s childhood was full of finger traps for some reason. And it was at that moment that I realized I had been performing a metaphor for certain other situations in my life. Things I was trying to force in the opposite direction of their reality were causing me stress and continued stuckness. And every time I accepted the reality of things, what was working versus not working, where I was celebrated versus where I was not, what filled my cup versus what did not, I created slack that allowed for clear next moves and things moving along easily. By accepting, I don't mean that I rolled over and let everyone, including myself, treat me unfairly. When my duvet was fighting me, I didn't just let it win. I didn't just throw it on the bed and in a bundle and try to crawl under it that night for the warmth that I knew it couldn't give me. I mean that I accepted the reality of situations that I was in. With my duvet, I accepted that it was a balled up, knotted, frustrating mess. That it was not suitable for comfort and peace in its tangled state. That it was not at that moment delivering on its promise to offer ease and beauty and support to my life. Only then, when I accepted that, could I take a deep breath that sounded a lot like a big sigh and start creating pockets of slack that naturally presented themselves, started working with the pockets of slack that naturally presented themselves, rather than trying to pull and force against the parts that weren't ready to cooperate yet. Obviously, relationships, the ones with ourselves and the ones with other people, are a lot more complex than a duvet cover. The places of slack and ease present themselves in more abstract ways than in real life. The places of resistance and knots are harder to acknowledge when we want them to be smoothed out already. But we still encounter actual resistance in places that we try to force where we aren't aligned. And we still encounter very real ease and flow in places that are ready to work with us. And if you have ever owned a duvet, you know that sometimes your brain actually cannot tell the difference between a full-on, drag-out emotional fight and the fight of having to stuff the thing back in its cover. What are you pushing or forcing, tiring yourself out? And where could you look for slack and ease in things that are choosing you back instead? This has been Your Magic, Your Rules, where we talk about the power of sensitivity in stories and life. I'm your host, Bailey Lewis. You can find more from me by subscribing or going to baileysendsword.com. Until next time, keep shining that beautiful heart of yours.